So in today's session, we are going to discuss about different methods of creating a SAS dataset. So we have so many methods of creating. Out of that methods, today we'll discuss some of the methods. Okay. So especially these methods are important in certification point of view. In real time, we don't use these methods much, but when we want to appear for certification exam, these methods are quite important. Okay. So in what way they are important is generally in certification, if they want to put a question based on a data, then they have to create that data sets, right? So or they have to give us like the programs which can create that sample data. So for creating such kind of small sample data sets, they will be using these methods. So today, whatever methods that we are discussing, they are important, quite important in certification point of view. In real time, it's a very rare occasion where we use these methods. Okay. So let us start with. So we have two different methods for creating this as sample data. One is input method, and the other one is output method. Okay. Input and output method. So in input method, we have four different methods. One is list input or advanced list input. Both are same with minor difference. Column input method, formatted input method, okay, named input method. So these are the four different input methods that we have. And when it comes to the output method is only one, and that we call as output method. So let us discuss about these five methods. So they are appropriate methods for creating small sample data sets. Now, so this method of creating, as in last two classes, day one and day two, we have created small sample SAS data sets, right, by writing like 3 or 4 lines program. So that method of creating a SAS data set is nothing but list input method. So a very similar program to that programs. So using the keyword data, we are inputting the dataset name, and using the keyword called input, we are inputting the variable names like employee ID, name, department. Okay. And while assigning the dataset variable names itself, we are declaring the data types. So how many data types do we have? Two, right? One is character and the other one is numeric. So how we are differentiating that character and numeric data type? By writing a $sign after the variable name, right? So if you just give the variable name, it is of numeric data type, and if you give a $sign followed by variable name, it is of character data type. That is how we are differentiating. And using the card statement, you are assigning the data lines. So each data line is nothing but each observation, and seeing each individual value, you are calling it as a data value. And we are ending our program with run statement. So this method of creating a SAS dataset normally we call as list input method. So the main advantage with list input method is it is the most convenient method for creating a SAS dataset. As in a small sample SAS dataset, this is the most convenient method. But out of this convenience, we have got so many drawbacks. Let us discuss the drawbacks. So in input statement, in whatever sequence you are defining the variable names, following the same sequence, you have to define the data values for each observation. Okay. So the first data, if you are writing employee ID as the first variable, it means for all the observations, the first data value will be employee ID. And if you are declaring ename as the employee name as the second variable, so the second value is nothing but employee name. Like whatever is the second value, that will go for employee name. So here, whatever sequence that you are following, you should follow the same sequence while assigning data values. And coming to the other drawback, so each and every individual data values should be separated by at least one single blank space. Okay? I mean, like suppose say 101 and Rick are two different data values, right? So those two values should be separated with at least one spacing. You can also use multiple spaces, doesn't matter, but at least with one spacing they should be separated. Coming to the other drawback, suppose if a data value is missing, suppose if you consider first observation, say we have employee ID and employee name data values available, but not department. So in case if any data value is not present, or missing, they should be represented with the dot. So that dot technically we call as period or placeholder. So if we are not representing with dot, let us see what happens. So what are the variable names did we assign? Employee name, employee ID and department. So whatever is the first value will be allocated to that given variable, first variable. And whatever is the second value will be allocated to the given second variable. After Rick, what is the next data value do we have? Because still we have one more variable. So whatever, like it will read the data in continuous flow. So after Rick, what is the next value available? 102. So that will be allocated to department. And 102 is a relevant character data value, right? So what is the feature of a character data value? It can contain like letters, numbers, special characters, everything it can. So this is a valid character data value. So department is taking that value. Now, so once it finishes allocating the values to the variables that we have declared, then it will send all this data from processing area to output data set to create the first observation. Okay. So unless it finishes reading all the values, the same process continues. Okay. So now, now again it will start reading the input statement from the beginning. So start reading the input statement from the beginning is nothing but it will go to the new line. So as of now, when it is reading the first time, at what value did it stop? At 102, right? Which is nothing but at this line, SAS has stopped. So now when it starts reading the input statement again, then automatically it will go to the new line. I mean next line. Okay. So in the next line, whatever is the first value will be allocated to first variable, second to second, third to third variable. And once it allocate the values to the variables that we declared, it will send the data from processing area to output data set. Okay. So again, it will start reading the variable names, which is nothing but like from beginning of the input statement. And then like at what line did SAS stop reading the values previously? At this line. Okay. So when it starts reading the input statement from the beginning, again, it will go to the new line. Okay. So that is how the data will be processed. So in this case, since we are not representing the missing value with the period, one second. So you will be getting this kind of output. Let us execute. That is the other drawback. See? But we can notice this in our log window. How you can notice that in your log window is, see, it will give you an instruction saying that SAS went to a new line when input statement reached past end of the line. So that is the note point it is giving you, which means, so SAS went to the new line when input statement reached past end of the line. So what input statement defines for us? Variable names, right? Like how many variable names did we allocate? That variable names it is defining for us. So SAS went into the new line as in, so it is allocating like whatever two values that we have here, the two values SAS is allocating. And then since it reached end of the previous line, it went into the new line. Okay, for taking the data value. So that is the error it is telling you. I mean, as a note point, it is giving you. So it is a good habit to read the log, both note error and warnings, so that we'll come to know like how it is processing the data. So it is not an error. It's just like kind of a different type of logical thing. That's it. So this is how you can understand how the data is processed. And this is the major drawback. Now, missing data should be replaced with a placeholder or period. When you replace it, check the log, see. And one more thing that we have to understand here is, we'll clear this. Okay. So in input as in this is all your input data, right? Input data is nothing but the data what we are entering. So in input, the missing data should be replaced with either period or placeholder. It doesn't matter whether a character missing data or numeric missing data should be replaced with period or placeholder. Okay. But in the output, so the output appearance of a character missing data will be space. Okay. And in the output, the numeric missing data appearance will be dot. Okay. So a character missing data appearance will be space and numeric data missing appearance will be dot. So let us miss a numeric value. In input, you will represent both the values with period, but in output, you will get the difference. So numeric missing data is with a dot and character missing data is with space. Okay. So this is one of the very important points that need to be noticed and remembered. Okay. Now, this is one of the drawback of, no, this is not actually the drawback, but yeah, point that need to be noticed. Coming to the other drawback, suppose I have the data values like this. Dan, Donald, Tushar, Agarwal, okay. So I have the data values like this for a name. Let us execute and see how many characters it is reading. By default, how many characters does it read? 8 characters, right? First 8 characters it will read. Execute, check. So less than 8 characters, the complete name you are getting. But if a value has more than 8 characters, only the first 8 characters you are getting. So that is the major drawback. The other part will be truncated or deleted. Okay. Coming to the next one. Suppose say that according to me, this is all one data value. Okay. Dan Donald, Tushar Agarwal, Pranab Goswami. This is all one value for me. Okay. But according to SAS, technically it will be 2 different data values, because in list input method, how you are separating your data values? Using a blank space, you are separating, right? So when you are separating, according to you, this is all one. It might be one value, but technically for SAS, it will sound as 3 different values because they are separated with space. So that is the other major drawback. Execute and see. See, Dan it is taken for one and Donald it is taken for the other one. Tushar it is taken for one and Agarwal it is taken for the other one. That's the drawback. Okay. Now, so this length issue and having a blank space as part of the value can be we can overcome through advanced list input method. So let us first see how to overcome the length issue. So length issue can be by using length statement. So we have to use the length statement before input statement. So why we are using that length statement before input is, so when SAS executes the input statement, the default length it is allocating to the character variables, right, which is 8. Okay. But before SAS allocates the default length for the character variables, let us assign the customized length. Okay, let us assign the customized length. So, to what values this length statement can stretch is 1 to 32,767. Okay, so 1 to 32,767. So this is the range. So which means the maximum number of characters that SAS can read for one character data value is 32,767. That is really a huge value. So in between this range, you can choose any value of your choice. Suppose say here I'm trying to give approximate length you can allocate. We'll try to do 40. Now execute. See, you will get complete value you are getting. Okay. Now, let us see how to overcome that blank space thing. So now, blank space thing we can overcome by using a modifier called ampersand. Okay? But when we are using any modifiers or any functions, make sure that variable name and the function or modifier are separated by using colon. Okay? So when you are using any function that we want to apply for the variable, okay, or when we want to apply any modifiers for the variable, you can do that through this column by separating with column. Okay? So column ampersand. So what this ampersand will do is, E name is which position variable? Second position, right? So the second value and the third value, in the next value, okay? The second value and the next value, if they are separated with one blank space, SAS will consider as one value, okay? Else it will consider as two values. Got it? So suppose say here rect and the next value, if these two are separated with one spacing, because of the modifier ampersand, it will consider that rect and dot as one value. Suppose if you are separating with more than one spacing, then it will consider as more than like two different values. So what we do in this case is, let us separate the actual ename and department values with more than one spacing. Okay, more than one will be sufficient. See, rect and the next value, since they are separated with more than one spacing, now these are two different values. Dan and Donald are separated with one spacing. So because of ampersand, this is all one value. And after Dan and Donald, the next value, whatever is there, is also separated with one spacing. So this is all one value. After that, whatever value is there, they are separated with more than one spacing. So two different values. That is how your data is going to be processed to give you the output. So that is about list input method and advanced list input method. Going to the other method, column input method. So column input method, the name itself says, like based on the column positions, it will read the data. So based on column positions as in, let us convert this data only into column input method. In column input method, the main advantage is no length statement. We no need to use the length statement, no modifier, okay, right. So no modifier, and then no need to represent the missing values with dot, okay, and we no need to separate the data values with the space. These all are different advantages with column input method, but the only drawback is, for all the observations, we have to make sure that the all the variable data values are starting at the same position and ending at the same position. So for all the observations, suppose if you are considering employee ID, so for all the observations, you have to make sure that that employee ID is starting and ending at the same column positions. That is the only drawback. Other than that, the rest all are advantages with column input method. So how you define the data is employee ID data. Suppose the employee ID data you have in first three positions. So you will be defining like this. Employee name data. Say you are having here. Starting from fourth position 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 4 to 18 places. So in the same way, 19 to 19, 20, 21. So 21. Okay. So 19 to 21. So this is how we will defining column input method. Same output you will be getting. This is just another method of doing the data. See, numeric is replaced with dot and character is replaced with space. Okay. Right. Coming to the next one, formatted. Even formatted is very similar to column. So the only difference that you see from formatted to column is all the advantages, the drawbacks, everything is similar. Okay. The only difference is in column input method, you are giving the starting position and you are giving the ending position, right? So, but in formatted input method, you will give the starting position, okay, and you will give the count of places. You will give the starting position and you will give the count of places 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So count of places is you will give here. So starting at the position 18, sorry 19, right? 19, 3 places, right? So 3 dot. This is the only difference between column and formatted. Other than that, rest everything is same. You will get the same output. Okay. Now, coming to the next one. Okay. Coming to the next one, named input method. So named input method is a bit different compared to this. Um, so in named input method, when you are declaring the variables, you will write equal to, ename equal to, department equal to. Okay. So for numeric variables, you will simply write variable name and equal to, and for character variables, you will write variable name equal to $. Okay. So that's how you represent. And when you are declaring the data values, this is how you will declare. Variable name equal to value. Variable name equal to value. Okay. And then same here as well. Same here as well. As I said you, this is not like, these are not the methods that we use in real time. So we need not think about how effective or how efficient these are. These are just used in case of certification purposes. Okay. So in certification, what happens is like they'll try to create a small sample data sets through these methods, as in like the same kind of programs they'll give you, and they might ask you some kind of questions from that data. Okay. So just in case of certification, these are a bit important. Now, so since you are writing both variable name and value, you can shuffle the order. Okay, doesn't matter. You can shuffle the order like this. So like this, you can shuffle the order. Since you are writing both name and value, you will get the same output. Okay. See? Of course, you are getting only the first 8 characters because you are not using length statement. So use the length statement to get the full length, to get the complete value. Okay. For which variable? Employee name, right? So, and whatever length that you would like to declare, you can. See. So now coming to the next one, output method. So output method is almost similar to input method, but with slight differences. As it is output method, instead using the statement called input, we'll use the statement called output. Okay. So generally when we use the input statement in association with input, we'll use cards. But when we are not using input, generally we don't require the card statement. Okay. And then length statement we have to use. I'll tell you when to use it. In output method, generally we'll declare variable name and value as a statement. Variable name and value as a statement. So generally, how do we write the statements? Separated with space, semicolon, right? So let us separate with semicolon. So in output method, how do we declare how do we differentiate character and numeric data is, numeric data you'll simply write like this. When it comes to the character data, you will keep the character data in between quotations. And character missing data with a blank space in between quotations. And obviously numeric missing data with dot. So that's the difference. These are all character data and this numeric data, right, with dot. Okay. So now let us look at the execution part. What is the first statement did we include? E-name equal to Rick. That is the first statement. What is the next statement? Department equal to one space, like missing value. And in output method, one more thing that we have to remember is, so for the first time, I mean in case of character variables, for the first time, with how many characters it is reading the value. So that will be the default length. Okay. So here with how many characters it is reading? 4. So 4 will be the default length of ename variable. With how many characters does department? 1 character. 1 space is nothing but 1 character. So the default length will be fixed as 1. But if you want to customize the length, you can do it through length statement. Okay. Now, what is the next statement we have? 101. What is the next statement? Just in flow, it just keeps reading the statement until it reaches run statement. What is the next? Employee ID 102. ID, employee ID variable is already there, but with what value? 101, right? But with 101. So now for the same variable, we are getting a new value called 102. So here you will get it as 102. Coming to the next one, department. You have a blank space for department as of now. So you can change that to 4. Okay. Now, what is the other one? Dan. So in the same way, it just replaces the values until it reaches the last value. So what is the last values that it is reading for the variables? Only the first one, no? So it will take F and run. Okay. Take only the first one. See? So this is the output you are going to get after, as it keeps replacing the values. Execute now. See? Right. Okay. Now coming to the next one, how to get all the data into our output. Okay. So how to get all the data into our output is, see. So suppose let us start reading with this. Let us use the length statement to overcome that length issue. For what all variables should we use in this case? For employee name, how much length that you would like to give, and for department, how much length that you would like to give. Okay. So ranging from 1 to 32767, right? Now, what is the first statement? Read, correct? So let us read the first statement. What is the next one? Department. What is the next one? Okay. Now, so with these three values, I want to form my first observation in the output data set. Okay. So you can do that through output statement. So at whatever point, okay, from processing, generally in processing area, you will be having all this data. So at whatever point you want to create the observation, okay, so there you include an output statement. So at this stage we want to, so I'll include a statement called output. Now, so what happens is whatever data you have in the processing area, that will be copied into output. It's not like completely moving, it will be copying. So now what is the next one? E-name, right? So this will be taken for E-name. What is the next one? Department. Then what is the value for employee ID do we have? 102. So with these values from processing area, we want to create our second observation. So here you can use your output statement. What is the next one? What's the next one? Tushar, other one. Next one, IP. So with these values, we want to form our third observation, right? So with this, so use your output statement. So like this, at whatever stage we want to send the data from, we want to copy the data from processing area to output, we will be using output statement at that stage. Okay. Now execute and see. You got your output finally. Okay. So now you tell me here one thing. Suppose say if I'm including an output statement here, okay, and also if I'm including an output statement here, then count of observations. How many observations do we get into our output data set?
I think there will be additional 2 rows.
Yeah, 2 more additional rows we will be getting. But let us see what that 2 more additional rows that we will be getting. Okay. So let us process. So this ename equal to rec. Just delete it. Ename equal to rec. Department equal to missing. Employee ID will be 101, right? Output. So this is your first one. After that, employee ID is 102 and department will be OPS. Department will be OPS. After that, output. So this is the data that you will be getting at second observation. Coming to the next one, Dan Donald Duck, right? What is that? E-name, right? You will be writing E-name this. And again, output statement. So whatever data you have at this stage in your processing will be going into your output. So this is how the output method works. Okay. So here the only thing that we have to understand mainly is about output statement. Okay. So output statement is the one that will send or that will copy the data from processing area into output, like wherever at whatever stage it reads the output statement. So at that stage, whatever data it has in the processing area will be sending the data or will be copying the data into output. So that's the main concept of output statement. So more in detail about the output statement we will be discussing when we come across different procedures. So but at this stage, this is the concept of output statement. So Rafiq and Shrestha, you both are clear with this method?
Yes, yeah, that's clear to me.
Shrestha?
Yeah, it's clear. Can you show the output right now?
Yes. With this program?
Yeah. So one thing, why this rig is coming twice? Why that system is reading rig twice? I mean, when you are giving e name with output Dan Donald, then it should read Dan Donald, no twice. Then why it is reading rig twice?
So see here, it is just overlapping the data, right? As in it is just overwriting the data, correct? So see, the statements that first it is reading are RIC, department, and then employee ID, right? So then after this output statement. So it is copying the data into output dataset. So RIC space and 101. So RIC space 101 we are getting. That's good. Coming to the next one. What is our next statement after output? What is the next statement? 102. Employee ID. So the variable is already holding a value of 101. So that will be overwritten with 102. What is the next value? OPS. So department is already holding a value like a blank value. So that blank value will be replaced with OPS. What is the next statement? Output. So at this stage, what is the data do we have in our processing area? Is getting copied. Okay, so read copy as 102. And so that is our second observation. So after that output statement, what is the next one? Dan Donald Duck. For what variable? E-name. So now e-name will get replaced with, will be overwritten with Donald Duck. After this, what is the next statement? Output. So at this stage, whatever data you have in your processing area will be copied into output. So this is our third observation. Okay, yeah. So that is how our output concept is working. Okay. So now clear now?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay. So that is about day 3 session. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss about different options like delimiter, DSD, delimited sensitive data, and flow over, stop over, miss over, trunk over, and how to import the data from text file into SAS. So these are different concepts that we are going to discuss in tomorrow's session. Okay. Right. So that's what for today.